What's up YouTube, and welcome to my channel DanBat99. I'm your host Dan, and in today's video I'm gonna rank all the Batman movies. And yeah, I have a tier list here. So this is gonna be a tier list ranking. I have the list open already. And yeah, I'm gonna give my quick thoughts on every movie. And yeah, this is a very subjective video, all based on my opinion. I have my favorites, I have my least favorites, but you will see in this video. And yeah, let's get started with the list. So let me show you the list we got. So here we have the tier list, and I'm gonna rank these bad boys. And I would say we start in the order they came out. So I'm gonna start with Batman 1989, which is right here. And yeah, let me maybe get this a little bigger so you guys can see it better. One second. There we go. Okay, so Batman 1989. Spoiler, this is my favorite on this list. Yeah, basically grew up with this movie. I watched it like 50 times maybe. And why do I love it so much? I mean, there is definitely a lot of nostalgia with this movie. I can't deny that. But I think in some aspects it aged really good. I mean, when you take a look at the city, you have that gothic design with the steampunk elements. You know, rest in peace Anton First. His designs are incredible. The vehicles, the Batwing, the Batmobile. And then, of course, the acting itself, the cast. We have Kim Basinger, Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, Billy D. Williams, Michael Gough, Pat Hingle. Solid casting. And yeah, Jack Nicholson's Joker is my favorite Joker and my favorite comic book villain. Or movie villain. So yeah, this one I'm gonna rank it quite high, and put it at A. I mean, I want to put it S tier, but the story itself, when you think about it, it's not that strong, and maybe a part that hasn't aged that well with this one. But still a great movie, especially coming from the Adam West series. We get this totally a shift of tone, and yeah, finally a dark Batman. And yeah, I'm also not a fan of the Adam West series. I see we don't have the movie on the list, so yeah, too goofy for me. But I will speak on goofy Batman movies later on in this video, so stay tuned. But yeah, we have Batman 1989 by Tim Burton at A. And yeah, then after the first one, we got Batman Returns, which is right here. Yeah, I think in this original anthology, it was the best sequel, I would say, because Batman stayed the same, again, played by Michael Keaton. And we had Danny DeVito and Michelle Pfeiffer as the Penguin and Catwoman. And yeah, this one, what I always liked about it is the Christmas setting. And for me personally, it's a perfect Christmas movie. And yeah, the story, I mean, the Penguin wants to become mayor, rises from the sewer, pretty much. And yeah, wants some revenge against the city, and yeah, also in a way against his parents who discarded him as a young child. And then we have Michelle Pfeiffer, who is this lonely secretary and then becomes a completely new persona, and yeah, has a vendetta against Batman, and yeah, gets to meet Bruce Wayne, and they have some kind of a relationship, a romance going on. And then we also have Christopher Walken as Max Schreck, who's definitely a highlight in the movie for me. So yeah, he's a big plus point. And yeah, I'm gonna rank this one. I I always liked 89 more because the city felt bigger, and yeah, that's also due to a lot of model work to make it feel bigger. You know, with Batman Returns, I think they filmed in Los Angeles and they had like some big sets, but not that big like in the first one, because in the first one they filmed, I think, in England, and they had a whole Gotham set, you know, with the cathedral, the crime alley, the museum, Flügelheim Museum. So the city felt more like a city, and in Returns it feels more like a set at sometimes. But I mean, some sets are amazing. We have the Penguin's lair, in this abandoned zoo. I'm gonna give it a B, I think. Batman Returns. Let's do a B. Solid sequel, and I like it, but I don't know why, but I can't quite put it at A tier. Also, I like Jack Nicholson more as Michelle and Danny, but that's just me, my personal opinion. So yeah, let's continue with Batman Forever, which came out 3 years later, and we had a change with the director and also in the casting of Batman, because Michael Keaton didn't want to return if Tim Burton didn't direct, which he didn't, so Joe Schumacher stepped in, and we got Val Kilmer as Batman. This one, when I describe Batman Forever, I always say the best Batman movie for the whole family, because it's lighthearted, it has some goofy moments, some one-liners, we have Jim Carrey in a green spandex, but yeah, we also have some serious stuff, the origin of Robin, spoiler, his parents die in the circus, and yeah, then he's alone and he gets adopted by Bruce, and yeah, I like that whole dynamic, even though for the role of Dick Grayson, Chris O'Donnell was a little bit old, but I can see past that. And yeah, in the end, the finale with Two-Face and the Riddler, and yeah, Two-Face demise. And yeah, it has some darker stuff, also with the flashbacks of Bruce Wayne. And yeah, obviously there is a Joe Schumacher cut out there with some deleted scenes, like Two-Face breaking out of Arkham Asylum. But it's a goofier movie for sure, especially comparing it to Batman Returns, which had some very dark parts, especially with the Penguin. But yeah, I really like this movie. I'm not a fan of Tommy Lee Jones in the movie, to be honest. I don't know what he was doing in that movie. And yeah, I like the Riddler definitely, and Val Kilmer, let's talk about him. I think he did a very solid job, both as Batman and Bruce Wayne, and I think he's underrated. He only got this movie, sadly, because he didn't return for Batman and Robin due to some creative differences with Joe Schumacher, and I think also with the other cast members, I think. I heard Val Kilmer is not the easiest guy to work with in Hollywood, but yeah, I would put Batman Forever at C. Yeah, I would put it at B, but there is too much goofy stuff, sadly. But I think it's a solid movie in the franchise. So yeah, continuing, 2 years later, we got Batman and Robin, again directed by Joe Schumacher. Some people of the cast stayed, like Chris O'Donnell as Robin, of course, Michael Gove, don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Alfred returned like he did in all the previous movies, same with Commissioner Gordon. But yeah, apart from that, new cast, obviously George Clooney became Batman / Bruce Wayne. And we had Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze and Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy. And yeah, we also got Bane, played by a former wrestler who sadly passed away, Jeep Swenson. Maybe let's start talking about the villains. I'm not a fan of Arnold's Mr. Freeze and Jeep Swenson's Bane. I mean, with Bane, he isn't even a character in the movie. He just says bomb and some other one-liners, and he's just a green henchman of Poison Ivy. And yeah, Arnold, just wrong casting in my opinion. I mean, he was the shit at the time, the Terminator, and Predator, and all the other stuff he was in. I mean, he was established at that point in 97. But for Victor Fries, it doesn't fit. And I heard they were thinking about Patrick Stewart, and that would have been the right decision, because Mr. Freeze isn't a one-liner guy, in my opinion. He has a tragic backstory, and he needs some solid dialogue, which he didn't really have in the movie. And I also read the novel, which is also, I think, the script. And also in that, there were a lot of one-liners, even ones that didn't make it in the movie. So I think from the beginning, they wanted Mr. Freeze to be a one-liner machine, which for me doesn't work. But one thing that definitely saves this movie for me is Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy. I mean, she's also very campy and also has one-liners related to plants. But she kind of gets it. And she adapts to the silly nature of the movie, and also she understands it's a living comic book, And her costumes in general, the costume design in this movie, I love it. The Mr. Freeze suit is amazing. I also love the Bane design. I know a lot of people aren't too keen on it with the green skin, but I think it fits, and the mask is badass. The Robin suit, which is basically Nightwing, and in the novel it also says Nightwing, or he says it's Dick Grayson. So the Nightwing suit. I mean, the Clooney suit I was never a big fan of, because it's just a solid black with a little bit of blue. It's a little bit boring. And the silver suits, also didn't like those. But I love Poison Ivy. She saves this movie for me. And also I must say Chris O'Donnell, because even though, again, another actor for Bruce Wayne, but in a way it's also a solid sequel, because Chris O'Donnell stays the same in character and has kind of like a progression to the previous movie. He wants to be his own boss now, wants a Robin signal in the sky, and there's some tension between the two, and I think that is an interesting plot detail. But then we also have one person I forgot to mention, Alicia Silverstone playing Batgirl, who isn't Barbara Gordon but Barbara Wilson from England, and that was completely unnecessary. I don't want to say she's bad, but also very forgettable. I like Chris O'Donnell, I like Uma Thurman, I like some of the set pieces, the garden at Arkham Asylum, and the chase over the statues, and in general Gotham City in this movie I think is one of my favorite designs of the city, to be honest. The big statues, the gothic look, also the cyberpunk elements. Arkham Asylum, the look of Arkham Asylum, also my favorite in the franchise from the Joel Schumacher movies. The Redbird bike is cool. The Batmobile, I'm mixed on it, but making it a one-seater was a cool idea. It's so goofy, but it's also fun. It's a guilty pleasure for me. And Uma Thurman, Chris O'Donnell, and also George Clooney, his parts with Alfred, the dialogues, I think were very solid. But his Batman, I don't know. But I would still say D. Or maybe even C, because it's a guilty pleasure. I can watch it over and over, basically. And I know this is a hot take. I know a lot of Batman fans hate this movie, and I totally get it. But like I said, some parts save it for me. After Batman and Robin, for a while there were no Batman movies, and comic book movies in general, I think. It took some time to recover from this. The movie bombed pretty hard. But in 2005, Christopher Nolan revived the franchise, thank God, And we got one of the best Batman movies, in my opinion, Batman Begins. Okay, so talking about Batman Begins. This one is my favorite in the trilogy. Me personally, I'm just a sucker for origin stories, and I think this is a really well done origin telling. We get the flashbacks, we get the early stages of Bruce finding his true identity, and putting an end to crime and corruption in the city. And we have Christian Bale playing Bruce Wayne and Batman. And in this one, we really get to see that billionaire or millionaire Bruce Wayne playboy persona really well, I think. How he how he tries to keep up that facade, and at the same time gets to plan his other life, of course being Batman. And those scenes with Lucius Fox in Wayne Enterprises are great. The scenes with Alfred, played by Michael Caine, amazing. And then we also have Rachel as the love interest, played by Katie Holmes, who sadly didn't return for the sequel. And as the main villains, we have Ra's al Ghul, played by Liam Neeson, and we also have the Scarecrow, aka Jonathan Crane, played by Cillian Murphy. And Ra's al Ghul is a great villain in this movie. Scarecrow, he has a smaller part, but also some cool scenes. But Liam Neeson and Christian Bale are the highlights in this movie. And also the Batmobile scene with the tumbler, which is one of my favorite Batmobile designs. Just, like they say in the movie, a black tank. And the ending with the train, the whole finale in itself, with the gas in the Narrows, all these people having these hallucinations, and then Scarecrow appearing on the horse. Batman saving Rachel and the boy from Game of Thrones. Batman Begins. The music, forgot to mention that, by Hans Zimmer. It's S tier for me. I love this movie. So I will put it here. I love Batman Begins. I know a lot of people prefer the next one, which I'm going to talk about right now, but for me, this is the best in the trilogy. But obviously The Dark Knight, a solid sequel. One could argue the best sequel, even though, again, some actors couldn't return for a sequel. And of course, talking about Rachel, who got replaced. And like many people, I don't like this Rachel. I mean, she isn't really bad that I say she ruins the movie or anything like that, but I'm kind of miss Katie Holmes in this. But apart from that, obviously Heath Ledger, rest his soul, amazing performance, Oscar performance, and interesting take on the Joker. We don't have that comic booky clown prince of crime. This is more of a serious serial killer Joker, and I love the take. I love the mobster meeting scene, obviously, making the pen disappear. The chase scene with the SWAT van, amazing. The finale, I'm not too crazy for the finale, but also cool. And then we also have Two-Face / Harvey Dent, played by Aaron Eckhart. I mean, pretty much it's his movie too. A lot of people say it's a Joker movie, but it's also a Two-Face movie. I mean, we get the whole origin story, how it happened, his motivations, his love interest. And we also get Batman, but he's not that much in the focus like in Batman Begins, which is understandable because Batman Begins is an origin story. But still, this is definitely one of the best sequels. But I still prefer Batman Begins. I know, hot take, but that's just my opinion. So I'm gonna put it at A. After The Dark Knight, we got The Dark Knight Rises, which was the last movie in the trilogy. Christopher Nolan had plans for the Joker, of course, but due to Heath Ledger passing away, very tragic, he had to change his plans. And he adopted a novel. I think it's called The Tale of Two Cities or something like that. I could be wrong on that. Correct me in the comments, please. But yeah, I mean, this one, everything with this one, everything is much bigger. It's influenced by No Man's Land, which is a Batman comic that I'm actually reading right now. And up to this point, I'm really enjoying it. Gotham City, due to Bane rising in power, who is the main villain in this movie. Gotham City gets isolated from the rest of the United States. And there is a bomb, a nuclear bomb in the city. And Bane claims he has the trigger. There are masses of cops fighting against Bane's goons. There are a lot of big scenes also shot in bright daylight, and I wasn't too crazy for that. We also have Anne Hathaway playing Catwoman / Selina Kyle. She was definitely a highlight in this movie. I think she has a really good take on the character. She's actually a real thief. An aspect that we didn't really get to see with Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, now that I'm thinking about it. But still, Michelle Pfeiffer is the GOAT when it comes to Catwoman for me personally. But Anne Hathaway, she comes second. She did a good job. And Christian Bale, Michael Caine doing their thing again. We also have Gordon, of course, Lucius Fox, and Blake, which in the end, spoiler, he becomes the new Robin, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, or Lewitt. This one, it isn't on the level as The Dark Knight. That's pretty clear, and I think most people would agree on that. And for me personally, it's not on the level as Batman Begins either. So I'm gonna put it at B tier. The ending I really enjoy. The scene in the cafe, how it ends, the music again, and Blake discovering the Batcave. I like that stuff. And Bane had some cool scenes. I know some people absolutely love him, and he has some cool quotes, but I was never a fan of the look and the voice, so I wasn't crazy for Bane. And the whole Talia al Ghul twist also didn't really need it, but it made sense in some way. But I mean, her death, lame. That's the only word that comes to mind. But the movie itself isn't lame, it's good. It's a solid ending to the trilogy, so I'm gonna put it at B. Okay, so we concluded the Christopher Nolan chapter in the movie timeline. And then in, was it 2016? I could be wrong on that. But the next movie I'm going to talk about is Batman v Superman. And yet this one, I'm not a fan of it. I watched it in the cinema back in the day when it came out. And I mean, I didn't leave the cinema feeling like, what kind of shit was that? But I also wasn't crazy for it. And I know there is an Ultimate Edition, which for me personally doesn't make the movie that much better. I mean, it helps to have a few extra scenes to give plot details. But I mean, it isn't a good Batman movie because there is not enough Batman. and it isn't a good Superman movie either, because he's basically being portrayed as the villain most of the time. And I mean, he acts like a dick most of the time. I don't like Superman in this movie, and I really like Man of Steel. And Batman, I mean, Ben Affleck's Batman is great, don't get me wrong. His Bruce Wayne, on point. His Batman, on point. The warehouse scene, epic, badass. Arkham stuff, love it. Played all the games. So definitely credit there. But the thing with Zack Snyder, I think we all know it, he's a very visual director, and storytelling isn't one of his strong suits, you know, or strong points. So, I mean, the shots, everything looks great, but the story, Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg, I don't know about that casting, and the whole Doomsday stuff, wasn't crazy for that. And the Justice League setup at the end, I never laughed at so hard at some bullshit before. This one, I mean, it's not a F because Ben Affleck saves it, but I'm gonna put it at D. Sorry, Snyder fans, don't kill me. That's just my opinion. And yeah, I mean, we have the Lego Batman movie, but I only saw this one once. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I would have to see it again to rank it. I don't know a rating right now, but it was quite fun, especially with all the Easter eggs and the goofy villains, like this one pencil guy, forgot the name, but yeah, there were some funny Easter eggs. But yeah, like I said, would have to watch it again to give it a rating. So I'm going to leave that one out for now. And I will continue with Justice League, the Joss Whedon version. This one, I'm not even sure if I saw this one in the cinema. I might have, but yeah, this one, before I even say anything, D or F, I'm not too sure. Let's say D for now. But yeah, DC's whole approach to the Justice League, in my opinion, was wrong, because they looked too much at what Marvel was doing over there with their movies and their MCU, and they thought, if we do the same, we might see some success too. But we just had 2 movies at this point, Man of Steel and BVS, and then with the third movie we get a Justice League movie with the Justice League fighting against Steppenwolf, a servant of Darkseid. I mean, that's too early, I think. By the way, I think I forgot Aquaman and Wonder Woman. I think they came out before that, right? Or after? I'm not too sure on the dates, but either way, it was too early to have a Justice League movie, in my opinion. I mean, I only care about Batman, to be honest. Ezra Miller's Flash is just comic relief. Aquaman, I mean, they changed his image from this goofy blonde hero to this kind of more badass liquor drinking guy. But I'm not crazy for him. And Cyborg, in this version, is also pretty forgettable. Same with Wonder Woman and Superman too. It's a shame, to be honest. But yeah, this one, I would even say F tier. But then we got the Snyder Cut. And this redeemed a lot of characters, especially Cyborg. When I think of the Snyder Cut, I definitely think of Cyborg. He carried this movie. The more scenes with his family, the origin, definitely helped. And yeah, also Steppenwolf becomes way more interesting, visually, of course, too, but also his character, his motivations, serving Darkseid and not failing. I really like that. And yeah, just the extra scenes we got like with Barry Allen and Iris, and yeah, Steppenwolf fighting against the Sea People, Aquaman's people, and yeah, Bruce Wayne trying to recruit everyone. I think there was an extended scene with the village where he went to. And yeah, the Wonder Woman stuff was also better. Yeah, this one is way more enjoyable than the original version. But still, I don't know where I would put it. It's not A tier for me. Because Steppenwolf is cool, but I mean, he's not an iconic bad guy in any way, in my opinion. And Darkseid was cool, but too little screen time. I'm thinking B or C. For now, I'm gonna say B, because I also like to rewatch this one. I think it has rewatchability, even though it is long as hell, but I mean, for a Batman fan and DC fan like me, I mean, that doesn't bother me. Give me those 4 hours. So yeah, let's just say B tier. I think that's where I would rank it. Which brings us to the last movie on this list. And up until this point, part 2 of The Batman isn't out. It will still take some time and eventually come out in 2026. But I'm telling you, when this movie came out, The Batman by Matt Reeves, I was happy as hell. I mean, first of all, the whole marketing for the movie, the trailers, DC fandom, that amazing teaser when he's beating the crap out of one of these subway goons. I got the chills. And then watching the movie, seeing that scene, the beginning scene, the monologue he says, where Bruce Wayne says, "I am the shadows." Then that epic fight scene, the Batmobile chase, Colin Farrell's performance. I mean, I watched the Penguin series on HBO. 10 out of 10. I might do a review on that one too, so stay tuned. But The Batman, I think it's the best comic book Batman, if that makes sense, because he's really a detective in this movie, and how he approaches the Riddler's riddles, and the corruption in the city, his interaction with Catwoman, Zoe Kravitz, she was also amazing. Also looks pretty much identical to the Year One version. And yeah, all the influences on this movie were great Batman comic books. Year One, The Long Halloween, what else? Maybe some Dark Victory. Yeah, we have Falcone in this one. Also solid performance and a really, really bad guy. Yeah, to quote my guy Jack Nicholson, I'm glad he's dead. But yeah, this movie, and also the moment the Batmobile starts its engine, when I saw this in the cinema, I wanted to get up and clap, but yeah, there was some scenes where I got goosebumps, and I was like, this is the comic book Batman. And I mean, for that alone, I gotta give it, I'm thinking A or S tier, but I mean, the Riddler was a cool villain, but he also wasn't my favorite. But Batman itself, I mean, Robert Pattinson, Bruce Wayne, isn't the best either, but his Batman is just better. So I'm gonna put the movie at S tier, and I'm really, really curious to see the second part. And yeah, that concludes this video. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tier list ranking of all the Batman movies, or live action Batman movies, I should say. Like I said, just my personal opinion. Yeah, I kind of grew up with the Burton and Schumacher movies, and I think that becomes clear also in the ranking. But I'm curious to hear your opinions, so make sure to comment them down below. Give me your ranking. let me know how you feel about this ranking. And yeah, if you're interested to see more stuff like this in the future, take care out there. Bye.